Less than a week away now until the big tax deadline, and millions of Americans are still rushing to get their returns filed. The good news is refunds are up this year thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Joining us now to discuss is Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Good morning to you, sir. Let's start with the big picture here. What are you seeing this year in terms of how many people are getting refunds and how much money is being sent back?
Yeah, we see actually a lot of good news in the tax refund space. Refunds are up about $350 per filer. That's about 11% relative to last year. The IRS, the Treasury Department, has already issued more than $220 billion in tax refunds, more than last year, and 2% more than last year. 2% more filers than last year are getting refunds. So that's all really good news at a time when a lot of people are stressing out about taxes. It's nice to get a bit of good news and a little bit more cash in our pockets.
Right, very encouraging. Talk about some of the provisions of the administration's policies that are driving this.
Yeah, so much of these higher refunds is attributable to the Working Families Tax Cut, which was passed last summer. That law was retroactive to the beginning of 2025. So the bigger child tax credit, the bigger standard deduction, and a lot of these new provisions like no tax on tips, overtime, the senior deduction, all of those things are what's driving those bigger refunds, those bigger checks that are hitting people's checking accounts.
And for the procrastinators out there who have not filed yet, what do they need to do right now to avoid penalties and really get this done right away?
Yeah, first of all, no judgment. Go ahead and file your taxes, but we are entering into that last minute period here. You want to file quickly, file accurately. I always recommend filing electronically. I think that reduces your chance of error and actually speeds up the process. And then a lot of people are eligible for free tax filing through the IRS free file system. That's a public-private partnership where they pair you up with a private tax filing service. If you make $89,000 or less and you don't have a particularly complicated, sophisticated tax return, you may be eligible to file for free. So why not save a few bucks?
There you go. And of course, no judgment. I mean, the Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union just filed last weekend, right? You just filed last weekend, so no judgment.
Are you burning me, Jan?
You also mentioned something important here, that if you have not filed yet, there's a good chance that you may actually owe some money. So what should folks be prepared for, as this deadline does come fast approaching? Because you still got to pay on time.
Yeah, I think that's just a psychological thing. People know that if they're receiving a check from the federal government, they want to file that return as quickly as possible so they have that cash in hand. If you know that you owe the IRS money, then you're more likely to wait till the last minute. Hold on to your money as long as you can. That makes sense, but you don't want to overdo it here, because when you consider when the IRS receives, when the Treasury Department receives that payment for electronic purposes, it's when that payment clears. So if you're filing electronically, there could be a little bit of lag in that payment. You don't want to wait till the very last second and risk that electronic payment coming in a little bit later than expected and incurring any kind of late fees or penalties or anything like that. So go ahead and get those payments in. You've already waited till the last minute. Waiting another day or two is not worth the risk.
They will charge you interest. All right, National Taxpayers Union Executive Vice President Brandon Arnold, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jim.